All right, we're going so raw with this. I decided I'm not going to even fix my hair, but I'll probably play with it throughout the video. I got laid off. I've been listening to a lot of TikToks about it. They've helped me feel less alone, even though they can definitely get depressing. Talk about how bad things are. But when I was laid off with other people, and we were told it was for operational efficiency. I really wish, something I've really struggled with this is, I really wish I knew. I'm sure it's different for every company, so I wish I knew how that worked, because I know that I wasn't doing well with my boss. I wish I could have figured out how to improve, because I was burned out and struggling with ADHD. I wish I could have figured out how to do better at my own job, because I was never fast enough for my boss. I got a new boss earlier this year, and I wasn't fast enough, and I made too many mistakes. And she just wanted to be perfect and always be way above standards, always be improving. That was kind of her thing. And it was just, I'm all for improvement, but it really was just relentless. I don't know. That's why I wish I knew how these layoffs worked, how they decided who would get laid off. I don't know, it might be a combination of things, but there's part of me that's stuck on this idea that, especially because I was old, it was a possibility. Because of how my boss had been treating me, she took work away from me because I would make one mistake one week on it, and just like that, I'd get it taken away. So definitely not the best situation. Bosses are supposed to coach you and mentor you and help you figure out how to be better. And I shit you not, like, me messing up one time was code for her to take something away. And I've dealt with people like that before. This is the first manager or person in charge of me I've probably dealt with who is that, I guess, impatient. But I feel bad that this has already become talking about my boss. I'm trying to be fair about it. It's like, I burned out. I should have took better care of myself or improved, and I want to keep finding ways to improve how productive I am going forward. But everyone on my team had their own struggles with how my boss was, so it wasn't just a me thing. But however layoffs work, it did involve other people too, so it wasn't performance firing. But yes, that is Charlotte, and she is very vocal. I love her. I really do. She's a foster cat, and she doesn't like to be carried. I don't think she'd appreciate it if I tried to carry her. But yeah, basically, multiple people got fired, so even if my boss had an opinion on who would get laid off versus not, I'm sure there are other things involved in the decision. But she knew. She took a vacation right the day I was laid off, so she knew it was coming most likely. Or it could have been bad timing, who knows. But lift you up? Do you want to go on my lap? Nope, you do not want to do that. All right, so got laid off, and that was the biggest, I guess, thought I was struggling with, and feeling guilty because it felt like, if only I did better, if only I didn't. Because there were times too I would stick up to my boss when I felt she was being unfair, and again, other people did that too. But I guess, for lack of a better term, there was too much against me. Again, if she had any decision in the layoff itself, she could have just known about it, potentially. But anyway, I've made a video about this. I cut contact with my family, so it's just me. I was actively trying to save money during this job, but even then, I only saved enough for 2 months of rent and $1,000 left over for other expenses, which luckily wouldn't be too much aside from food and rent. And I have a meeting tomorrow, bright and early, to see if I apply for SNAP. It's not the first time I've relied on food banks and such, so that's not super difficult. I felt guilty when I had to ask the shelter for help with cat food, the animal shelter. Just, it's a resource that they always offer the fosters. It's just like, I don't know, I felt bad that for once I had to use it rather than be helpful by buying my own food and litter for the cats. But yeah, it's just a lot. I feel bad, I guess, because there's so many details that I'm just giving out here. I don't know how entertaining or whatever this might be. This might be comforting to people. I don't know how relatable my shit is. But basically, so I am worried as far as I don't got a lot of money. I did get severance 6 weeks. So from what I hear, that is not too shabby. So that's great. I had to wait which is normal. I have to wait to sign that severance. But once I do, they also have outplacement services. I haven't seen people say too much bad about outplacement services when I looked it up, except for one specific company, I guess, that happens to be really bad from what I've seen. But I'm hopeful that will help me. I'm part of a Discord server, a public Discord server, where people are pretty good about looking at your resume and helping you figure out what's wrong with it, what you can do better, things like that. It's the Reddit jobs Discord server. But it's like, so I don't know how much they'd be able to help with resume beyond that. I'm hoping, I don't know if they're going to have resources for reaching out to other companies or being able to play the LinkedIn game better. That would probably be where I would definitely seek help. That and internet practice, that and interview practice, because those are the areas where I know that I'm rusty with my interview stuff because I talked to a recruiter today. This was for a recruiting firm that has mostly administrative and executive assistant roles. And so that didn't exactly end well, just because the interview itself was good. But she was saying things are pretty fucked. That's not how she said it. But things are pretty bad in this area. Things are pretty grim. That's the message she gave. And so things aren't great right now. I actually just earlier decided that starting tomorrow, I'm going to start applying to different places in the U.S. Since I don't talk to my family, I have 2 friends. I have some D&D groups, but ultimately I don't have much that truly ties me down to this area. So as much as I like being in the area I grew up in, after my family moved around, I have to move to get work again because I don't really have time to play the wait and see game. I don't know how many of the people who are struggling with a long job search, if they are tied down. I'm sure a lot of people are tied down to some degree, even if it's just like they want to live with their friends, which I totally get. Because I wish I had a support system. I have my 2 friends, but it's like, again, if I have to move because where I am, the DC area, lots of layoffs, furloughs. It's not like there's no job listings, but it's still a typical 100 plus people per job application. And so if moving the area at all increases my chances, I am limited as far as where I would go. I would want to be in a place with decent public transit. So still like a big city. I know it's only certain big cities that would fit that criteria. I know that's still kind of limiting, but once I land back on my feet, I want to be somewhere where I can try again to build a support system and have a social life after work. So that's why I truly hold on to being in a place with public transit. I grew up in the suburbs. The suburbs, especially when I was a little kid, you would have block parties. But as I grew up, unless you've met the neighbors somehow, you're not gonna be able to ring on random doors and go, hey, do you have kids who would want to come and play with me? You could do that, but at one point when I was living in Chicago for 2 months, I rang on someone's door, asked them to use their internet so I could call an Uber. My phone was dying, and they basically called the police on me. So that's where it's definitely anecdotal, but that's where we are as a society right now. But it's just like, I'm looking at relocating. And when I first really decided that that was a possibility, it was kind of depressing just because maybe spiraled a bit. Is this going to keep being my life where I move around to find work? There's part of me that thinks there's part of me that likes the idea of just having fun, jumping around, who knows where I'll be, doing what job, but I'd like to not continue to get laid off. I know the economy has cycles because capitalism, but it's just to definitely not at the very least be like an every year thing, because I was only at this job for 1.5 years-ish. It was kind of a place where my therapist was saying I was unhappy for a long time. Well, that's fair. And it's like, when I told her I was laid off, part of our conversation was about potentially looking at something other than corporate, because I said in my last video, a big thing I struggled with this role specifically, and maybe it's different in other corporate roles. A big thing I struggled with was how literally multiple times an hour you got somebody poking you via Microsoft Teams about something. In my position, that was going on a lot. I would rather, not that we really get to choose our environment, but if I did have some say, I would rather have blocks of collaboration call where anything that I need to work on with, so I can just get it done then, rather than them being able to poke me at any time. Some of the ad hoc messages I got were like from other teams, so can't really help that. But that was more rare. I just think with how things were, I just think we needed actual work sessions rather than, I don't know if there was a way really to solve what was going on. Things just would come up and people would be messaging throughout the day, and I can put myself in do not disturb, but if someone's got a question for me specifically, there's only so much time they'd wait until potentially calling me, even if they were on another team. So, but my therapist and I were talking about potentially other types of work that still paid well, so I wouldn't have to downsize. I don't mind living in a smaller 1-bedroom than this. This is kind of a lot. And my stupid ass hasn't even really used the TV. And I'm going to have to pay to unmount it and fix the wall if I need to fix the wall. That'll be great. So I thought I would start using the TV, but turns out I use my computer too much. Anyway, I don't know. I've gotten most of it out. It sucks because when I was still working my job, I was really struggling to essentially build a support system. I wanted to make friends and connect with them and build strong relationships. So something like this happens, I can fall back on somebody. My friends have said I could crash at their place if something happened. But when I said I was laid off, one of them was trying to be like, hey, if you want teaching roles, I could help you find that, which is nice. I would debate if I want to teach. I have a bachelor's degree. With what I hear about kids these days, I don't know if I want to teach. But also, whatever school would have to be metro accessible. And that would be another thing I'd worry about. But it is nice of her to try and at least for teaching positions. I don't know how hard it would be to break into teaching. That's the other thing too. But I don't know. It just sucks. Even if I did a little better, this was probably still going to happen. Potentially closer to the holidays, if anything, I guess. That's, I guess, a blessing, is that this didn't happen too close to the holidays. It'd be great to find something or be super close before the holidays, which is another reason to broaden my search. I debated about it earlier, but now I have 2 months before I would have to start door dashing, which I don't mind. I'm a little nervous just because of the cold weather that I'd be doing it in. Maybe I would find a grocery bag job, but I don't think I would earn as much. With DoorDash, I would need to buy a bike, an electronic tricycle because I can't balance on a two-wheel, and basically DoorDash that way because where I live it is walkable, and my therapist, she would be able to help me navigate resources to make things easier as far as rent goes, housing grants they have in this area, which is very nice, so again I would still have, if this goes beyond 2 months, still have to do side work of some kind to make ends meet. But that's where it is right now. I debated, should I do DoorDash now? But I was like, no, let me put in as much time as I can, truly focusing on the job search, networking. That's the thing about networking, man. The funny thing is, I feel like I hate networking with how it's been sold to people my age, which is like, oh, just start contacting people on LinkedIn who are alumni from your school, or people from the people from the company you just applied for. Hoo-hoo. And it's like, I will try to talk to them, but they don't respond back because everyone's doing it. That's probably why they don't usually respond, or just the fact that you're a stranger. I haven't had anybody really reach out to me. I would try to give them advice if they want it. People ask me stuff on Reddit posts. Oh, I made it into this university, and they'd ask about that, and I do my best to answer their question. Personally, I'm not opposed to helping people like that, but a lot of people are. They're too busy, or stranger danger kind of stuff, which is kind of weird for adults online, but whatever. The networking, my point was, the funny thing is that just me kind of telling people that are in my life I've been laid off, because I've been friends with them and have had back and forth, and they like helping people. They've been giving me tips. They've been looking out. Someone saw I applied somewhere. I mentioned that I applied at a certain company, and they were like, oh, which team did you apply for? And because he had a friend in another team, if I'd applied there, maybe he could have mentioned me to him, which is really nice. Even I mentioned it in the local anime Discord, and somebody me to the career side of their job or where they worked in the past. Somebody else did that too from a different Discord server, and it's very nice to them. Unfortunately, I didn't find anything that applied for me in either of those sites or those companies. That's the thing. My past job was kind of a hodgepodge of things. It was kind of a weird position. I'm not finding too many positions when I'm applying for jobs that actually fit what I did in this role. Even at the 70 or 80% match guideline they give you, try to match 70 or 80% of the requirements or whatever, I'm not finding too many. And that's a big part of the reason that I'm expanding my search to other metro areas, because legit, I'm just not finding a lot. One role did fit that criteria, and I applied, and they gave me 2 days after, because I applied on Saturday. That's how dedicated I am. Just kidding. On the Monday, they told me to take the Myers break and another personality test, and I did that, and I sent what they wanted me to. I haven't heard back from them yet. I don't know. I feel like I have a good personality, but it depends on what they're looking for. But that's where I am. I'm just trying to keep my head up. I'm taking it day by day and taking in what's going on and how things are going. Fortunately, I definitely understand why job rejections get people down, especially if it was after being invited for an interview. But for some people, even just like jobs, just like the amount of rejections from places you didn't even interview for can get to people. I don't think I've gotten to that point. The only thing that gets to me is the time, how long it's been since I've done this. Because my job search after college took long enough that I'm definitely rusty on my interview skills, but I still know how to give decent eye contact. Found out today. So things should be okay. Hopefully you find something soon. If you're in this position, hopefully you find something soon. Thought I was gonna get all more emotional, but Nah, I'm just talking for 30 minutes now. I'm sure with editing that will shrink down. Thank you for listening. Like and subscribe and hype if you feel like it. Also, hi.